welcome back to another episode of It Can Be Done, but Not By Everyone. Last time we talked all things picking up the phone, fear, rejection, and the small actions that help to build momentum. Today, we are shifting from mindset to management, how you use your time, your focus, and habits to build consistency. Because in this business, structure isn't optional, it is the foundation. So, why do you think so many new agents are struggling with time management and that daily discipline?
I think we touched on something like this before, and I think one of the big reasons is transitioning from being an employee to now being independent.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're an employee, you're working for a company that already has some set of structure. You typically have a manager who has certain expectations, work and tasks that's associated and assigned to you.
Mm-hmm.
There is then an expected delivery on, so you don't have a lot of, let's say, flexibility in your time management. It's already structured, so it's not something you really have to think about. And then when you transition into more of an independent situation, you now have all the time. The question is, what do you then do with it to make sure that it is filling in the things that are going to help you be productive?
Right.
The one example that I will give is just think about, transitioning from high school to university, where in high school you have your classes, you have certain classes at a particular time of the day, you have to be there, so no question. Then even some students in their last year, parents are probably still waking them up. So all of those things are already in place. Now, when you go to university, you are now having full responsibility to attend your class. No one is there to check in on you. And a lot of students will struggle in that first semester, typically. So I would say very similar to what agents experience.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Obviously, going from structure and maybe, someone kind of being on top of you to complete independence can definitely be overwhelming. What's the biggest mistake that you see new agents making when they try to build a routine?
Thinking that it will happen very quickly and they can do a lot. Instead of identifying the things that are necessary in that early stage of their process, their journey, and then building a routine around the things that will be helpful for them in that early stage. I think a lot of agents think they have to do it all. And when you spread yourself so thin trying to do it all, it ends up where the quality is not going to be good. So it's actually going to elongate the development and creation of those routines. So I would say think smaller, more strategic on the things that is needed in that early stage.
So if it's not about filling every hour, how can agents figure out what their top priorities should be each day?
So there is this idea that for some amount of time, let's say you plan to do 8 hours in a day, that the 8 hours need to be filled with doing something. And people convince themselves that because they're busy, it's good. And it's not about being busy, but it's about being productive. So it's identifying those activities that are truly needed. And, at the early stage, you're talking about your skills of communicating, knowledge, acquiring knowledge. And I would even say, getting some mentorship, but having an honest conversation with yourself early to make sure that you're not just filling the time to satisfy that internal question, but you're filling your time with the things that will help you to be productive.
So once those priorities then become clear, how do you recommend that they turn that into that daily routine that's actually going to stick?
Start small. The one of the things that I believe, again, agents coming in early, they want to get to the level they see a lot of the experienced, seasoned veterans. It will not happen overnight. So for the routine, you start small, and what you need to do is you need to be diligent and you need to be consistent. And when you do those things, and I say start small, what will end up happening will be habits. Habits will be created. And when the habits get created, it now becomes second nature. You no longer have to think about it. So for me, it's to identify those things early, simple, but you have to be diligent and you have to consistently do them so that after some period of time, the brain will take over and it will be second nature.
So when it comes to discipline, I think a lot of people might think that that means to, push yourself harder and harder, but it's really about having systems that make success easier. How do you see that playing out in this business?
Yeah, discipline for me is about consistency. And for the life insurance space, you need to have a set of actionable items that you're going to do on a daily basis to ensure that the goals that you're pursuing will likely be achieved. It's not about how hard something is, and one should not use that as a gauge. It's, can you repeatedly do something in a consistent way, so that after some period of time, that thing that you've been doing now becomes second nature. For agents, it's, can you consistently on a daily basis put aside a certain amount of time to develop your communication skills, develop your understanding of the business itself, right? To do some personal development, whatever those things are, and then consistently do it so that, again, after some period of time, it's no longer thinking about it, it's just happening.
Yeah. So for someone who might be feeling a bit overwhelmed in that day to day, what's one small step that you think that they could take this week to help create more of that structure?
I would say, you can call it like a 10-minute plan, right? So every day you should have a set of tasks, activities that you're going to pursue on that day. And stuff happens which may prevent you from accomplishing all of them. So what I would say is, at the end of the day, review your list of activities and identify the ones that you didn't accomplish. And then assess and see if they are priority. And then look at your schedule for the next day and see if the item or items that you did not complete in that day are of higher priority. If they are, then reassign and reassess your schedule for tomorrow, modify it so that you can then get those high priority items that you didn't accomplish today done. And that takes 10 minutes.
Right.
And if you do that repeatedly, it now, after a while, will become part of the habit of that day's work, which will help you be much more productive.
Yeah. Beyond scheduling, what are personal habits that have helped you stay consistent?
I would say it's my planning for the next day
Mm-hmm.
and the day. So, and I'll just, the night before, I pick my clothes out. And I lay out my clothes for what I'm going to wear, for the office, my work, and I also lay out my workout clothes. Right? That's one. Second is I wake up between 5 a.m. and 5:30, right? So that's part of it, and it's now just habit. I most of the time will wake up without my alarm. Immediately after waking up and dressing, I work out 30 minutes, and it's depends on the day, but it's some cardio, typically riding a bike, resistance, lifting some weights, yoga, which is both more resistance, but also flexibility,
Right.
stretching, and so on. So I do that, and I get ready for work. But before I actually start my work, I will go through times 5, 10 minutes just to get my mind set, and then I'll review my schedule and make modifications to my schedule. So that it's about an hour and a half after waking. That's the routine, and I've been reviewing and tweaking it here and there as things change. But that's been very helpful.
Yeah, it seems like you're really setting yourself up for success. Do you think out of that routine there would be one key thing that you might advise people to adopt?
I would say yes. It's waking up early. Waking up early, it was tough initially. Cognitively, I am so much more energized. So if there's one out of all of them, it's that. But to be honest with you, they all help. And being physical, working out, it gives me some endorphins, and I feel ready to go.
Yeah.
So anyone can pick from what I mentioned.
Before we wrap up, what is the one idea that you want every new agent to carry with them after hearing all of this?
I mean, we were talking about, initially managing time, but I think we kind of focused in on discipline. I would say for those agents starting out that discipline is tremendously important. It is simple, but it is not easy. Simple in the sense of the thing that you have to do, one can identify the thing. Not easy, it's because it has to be done over and over and over. And I will tell you, the brain will give you a number of reasons why you should not do that thing. Waking up at 5 a.m., the brain will tell you, this bed is warm, you need to stay in, get extra minutes, you'll feel more rested, right? So start small, and it by doing something small, it's not a big of a change to the brain because the brain always wants to protect you.
Right.
And if it's small enough, it won't resist you that much. And if you make that small change and you repeat it over and over, after a while, it will become the new normal. And then you can up it again and do that over and over. There's one book I would mention that touches on this, and it's Atomic Habit by James Clear, I think is the author's name. And he shares a lot of pretty interesting, tips and tricks and methods of how persons can develop habits and be successful at it.
I think that's the perfect note to end on. So for everyone listening, start small, build rhythm, and commit to showing up even when it's not exciting, because consistency is what creates growth. Next time, we are going to talk about following up. We'll dig into how staying consistent, adding value, and turning a no into a not yet can change your results. You will not want to miss it. We will see you then.